three main options. We've got offsetting, earmarking and pension sharing. So offsetting is where you offset the value of the pension against other assets. So it could be other investments, property, whatever it might be. Traditionally, it's not been done on a pound for pound basis, which is to reflect the fact that monies in a pension are locked up, and somebody might be a few years away from retirement age before they're able to access those benefits, and obviously once the benefits come out, a lot of them is taxable as well, so it's not always on an even basis. In 1996, earmarking was introduced as well. So earmarking allows pension sharing of sorts, in that when the member comes to take their benefits, a percentage of it is actually paid to the ex-spouse. Lots of problems with this though. First of all, under the new regime, under pension freedom, somebody might never actually take their pension benefits. They could just leave it there, and so the ex-spouse never gets anything. Even if they do get benefits, they have no control over the timing of it or how much the benefits they'll get. They don't get to control any of the investments, and if they remarry, then it stops completely. So pension sharing was introduced in 2000, which is one of the more common options that's used these days. And that allows a clean break. So it allows the original pension member has a debit against their pension and a corresponding pension credit for the ex-spouse, which means they can transfer those funds into a pension in their own name, so they control the investments, they control when the benefits are taking, and they can take the income as and when they need it. There's a few common pitfalls. Quite often we see pension sharing orders come in that don't really sit very well within the regulations. Regulations state that it has to be a percentage of the pension that is shared. That is, except in Scotland, where it does actually allow you to have a monetary figure. So quite often we see ones in the rest of the UK where they still want to try and do a monetary figure, which the regulations just don't allow that. We might see ones where people want to put specific assets to go to the ex-spouse, or an in-specie transfer of assets. But because you've got this percentage that you have to meet, and if you don't meet it exactly, you've got the risk of an unauthorised payment, it just doesn't work very well. The other common issue is where there's illiquid investments held within the pension scheme that can't be sold easily, and you need to try and split it, and obviously that can cause huge delays, and we see cases that can go on for years and years and cause lots of problems with that. No, not all pension rights are shareable. Most notably, beneficiaries' rights aren't shareable. Now, prior to pension freedoms, it wouldn't be that common, it wouldn't be that big an issue that you would have beneficiaries' rights when somebody got divorced, because it was only a dependent that could have a beneficiary's drawdown. So you'd be looking at a situation where somebody would have had to have been widowed, then married and then divorced. So obviously it doesn't happen that often. Whereas under the new rules now, where anybody can be a beneficiary, it'll become more common, and increasingly as time goes by, become more and more common, that you will see sort of parents leaving funds to their children, and their children then go on to get divorced, and obviously they might have substantial beneficiaries drawdown funds which then can't be shared on divorce. So it's one to bear in mind. Also, it depends whether the original pension member was taking benefits or not at the time of their divorce, because if somebody's already taking benefits and they've already had their PCLS, then their spouse doesn't get a second bite at it. It means they're what's called non-qualifying pension credits, so they can't take any tax-free cash from that. So obviously when you're looking at the divorce settlement, they're not worth quite as much money because they don't have that tax-free element to them. If a member with protection gets divorced, it depends a little bit on the type of protection they hold. For somebody that has enhanced or fixed protection, though there's no direct impact, their protection level still remains the same, obviously they've had a debit against their pension funds, so their pension funds are reduced. And with those protections, you can't make any contributions, so they don't have the ability to rebuild their pension funds. Now, depending on the level of the pension debit, if it actually takes their pension savings to below the current lifetime allowance, it may be that they want to consider breaking their protection, and it's worth their while to do that, to build pension benefits back up to the standard lifetime allowance. For people with individual or primary protection, then when they have a pension debit, it does reduce the level of their protection, and they have a duty to inform HMRC of that reduction for their lifetime protection.